Thank you, my friends. Alexis, thank you for reminding us how forward-thinking and extraordinary women of New York always have been, which is why we are drawn to this site, a place that many of us in this audience uh, came to last August 26th to do the official unveiling. And it was not meant to be a stationary object that people walk past and say, well, that looks nice. It's supposed to be a place of inspiration and a place of motivation, and to remind us that, yes, in our DNA as New Yorkers, as New York women in particular, we carry their weight on our shoulders, the burdens that they had to undertake to fight for women's rights back in 1848 and in 1917 to make sure that we had the right to vote 3 years ahead of the rest of the nation. And again, we always like to be 3 years ahead. We were exactly 3 years ahead when New York State in 1970 enacted rights to a safe legal abortion, and the rest of the nation paid attention. And the people that are joining with me here today, these are today's leaders, these are today's champions, and I want you to celebrate them with me as I call out their names and recognize the organizations that they're with, because we don't get anywhere as an individual in this state. We do it collaboratively, collectively, back to these brave women all the way to 2021. And I'll be introducing my great partner in government, someone who embraced me when I landed in Congress, and she was our senator, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. I want to thank her. You're going to hear from her in a couple of minutes, but Senator Gillibrand, I wanted to recognize you. Also, we'll be hearing from some of our speakers will be Robin Chappelle Golston. Will be speaking, as we've heard her many, many times, firing us up. She's powerful. We'll look forward to working with her. Dr. Mira Shah will be speaking. My former roommate in Congress and dear friend, Congressman Carolyn Maloney, who is an incredible leader, will be speaking as well. Andrea Stewart Cousins, again, another history-making friend of mine. We have a lot of friends making some history there, my friend. And thank you for your incredible leadership. It has been a joy to work with you. Let me say that again. It has been a joy. That is very true. And Pascal Bernard will be giving remarks as well. But also, I just want to recognize some of the groups that are here. And you all came out here today. It's a beautiful day. Our Commissioner of Parks and Historic Preservation, Eric Kulisade, is here. Eric, see you in the back there. Thank Patrick Elam, the president of the Monumental Women, who created this statue. We love it. We love it. Thank you very much. The Central Park Conservancy is here. I know we've got some other elected. Oh, here's our other electeds. Oh my gosh. Also, we have Christine Quinn here, the CEO of Quinn. We have Judith Kaysen-Windsor, Bev Newfold, Dina Bask from Better Balance, Bev Newfield, but also my elected friends in the front row here, Liz Kruger, who is one of the authors of, she and Assembly Member Glick were the champions of the Reproductive Health Act at a time when people said it could not be done. And we actually had some procedural battles with the other side of the aisle, and how nice it was we no longer have to have those battles. But thank you for being there when things were tough. And Rebecca C. right here, I see her always arrive. And our great leader from this borough, my friend Gail Brewer. Thank you very much. Thank you. Senator Brad Hoylman is here. Senator. Oh, there you go. Okay, I was looking in the front row. Okay. Also, my friends. Let's see, we have Helen Rosenthal, really Deborah Glick, Carolina Rivera.
It's really long.
Okay. Joanne Simon's here, Carolina. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
We have the entire assembly here
Okay,
today.
Linda Rosenthal.
Thank you, assembly members.
All right, Carolina Rivera, Helen Rosenthal, Helene Weinstein. And if I forgot your name, I owe you a drink, okay? Can we just... All right, so let's get started. We've got some business at hand
too
here.
many.
We have some business.
Awesome, though.
I know I like going out with my friends.
Pretty great, right?
It's awesome. It's awesome. My friends, since September, since the Supreme Court let stand the Texas travesty on September 1st, we were a little preoccupied with a hurricane hitting at that moment, but I didn't realize there was another hurricane brewing in our nation's capital at that moment as well. And since then, women all across this nation have had to confront the prospect that rights that we just took for granted our entire lives, rights that my grandmother had to fight for, rights that were just starting when my mother was a young woman, rights that were always there when I became a young adult, young woman, and rights that I assume would be there for my now 30-something-year-old daughter. But all of a sudden, that sense of security we once had in our nation has been ripped apart, shredded. The security blanket no longer. And the reason I love coming to places like this is because just when you think things are the darkest before the dawn, New Yorkers stand together. We pull together. And all of you represent thousands more across this state. And that is the power of what we do here. But think about what they did. I guarantee I did not know I was pregnant with my first child at 6 weeks. I actually went on a whitewater rafting trip, it turns out, at 3 months because I didn't know I was pregnant. I mean, that is the reality of real people, okay? We don't always know. So you're denied the choice that should be yours as a woman. And something we took for granted by Texas, who thinks 6 weeks is the magic date that you should have been aware. You should know this. And that is grotesquely unfair, what they're expecting people to do. And I'm glad the Department of Justice is taking Texas to court. I had a chance to have a brief conversation on Saturday with Merrick Garland, our Attorney General. I said, we're with you, keep going, fight on. But it's not just Texas, it's Ohio, it's Mississippi, it's Alabama. All across the nation, people are waging this battle. And so, who are the warriors in this battle? Yes, it's New York women, once again, to help our sisters across this country who don't have the leadership in their state to look out for their rights. And so, yes, I invite them all to move to New York. Love to have you come. But also, I want them to know that there's a symbol that they need to look at when they're trying to figure out what to do in their lives. And that symbol has been with us since 1886 in the New York Harbor. That is a strong, powerful woman with her hand up, saying, if you've been oppressed anywhere in this world, you come to our harbor. This is the safe harbor for people suffering from oppression. My friends, that oppression, in my judgment, is going on right now in the state of Texas. And our harbor is open for people to come here and understand that we will be there to take care of them and protect them. And so I want to make sure, first of all, that we follow up on the Reproductive Health Act. There are some loose ends that were not attended to, and thank you to the advocates for reminding us of what needed to get done. We want to make sure New York State patients, first of all, and anyone who comes there knows their rights. Sounds simple, but we want to make sure that we have an agenda, and I'm announcing today that we're going to say, if you don't know your rights, you might as well not have these rights. If you don't know them and understand them. So we're going to make sure that we direct all state agencies, I'm doing that right now as we speak, state agencies, particularly Department of Health, to launch a public information campaign so New Yorkers and those who come here will know all the rights they have available when it comes to abortion access. And we're going to work with all of our stakeholders out there. I need you to help with this. We will create a patient bill of rights to distribute in doctors' offices and clinics and other organizations where people need guidance. It'll be in plain, clear language and in languages that people understand, no language barriers. And we're going to make sure every single woman in the state of New York knows her rights. But also, if we're going to be a haven for people from elsewhere, we need to make sure that our healthcare providers are also equipped with the guidance they need. There's been some confusion. They're not always sure about what their rights and obligations are. So I'm also directing the Department of Health to take immediate action to develop and distribute modern and comprehensive provider guidance on their right to abortion care. And first of all, we'll convene a group of experts. People know exactly what this should look like, how it should be done, and it'll be shared with providers on webinars and other forms of information. Also, this pandemic showed us the power of telemedicine. And I believe that even after the pandemic is over, we need to make sure, and we are working on this now, that we'll update regulations so medication abortion can be accessed through telemedicine. And I'm directing them to make sure that these updates are done as soon as possible. So they're not just regulations, they come to life, and I'll make sure that everyone knows they have these rights. Lastly, just as we've seen with this pandemic, we're also waging a war against misinformation, yes, which is a polite way of saying lies. And there are social media platforms that have been hijacked and used for this purpose. We saw it. There's a place where people sow fear, disinformation, and affect people's attitudes. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we have 20% of the population who may never want to get the vaccine because they believe the lies that they read from what they thought was an honest, truthful source, and that was not the case. And we've been here before. In 1970, back when we passed the law, we had over 400,000 people from all over come here. 2/3 from out of state came to our state, so we know people come here. Fast forward to 2019, when we passed the Reproductive Health Act, we analyzed all the social media that was going on at that time. From January 1st to March 20th, 2019, 4 out of 10 top stories receiving the most engagement on Facebook were articles about our very own Reproductive Health Act. And they are from anti-choice news sources that absolutely misrepresented and lied about the bill. That, my friends, is what I fear is going to happen again. That disinformation. Imagine an 18-year-old girl trying to make a decision that's going to affect her life. She believes that she has the courage to do what she wants to do and say, I'm going to have an abortion. But at the same time, her friends and others are forwarding information and horrible messages and calling her a murderer. What does that do to the psyche of a young woman? It's tormenting. And I believe that has to stop. And I believe that the social media organizations that are out there, and I'm asking Facebook starting today, to help clean up the act. Help us wage a campaign of truth and not lies with respect to what is going on in Texas and what was going on here in the state of New York. Because misinformation spreads like wildfire.
Bravo.
So we have a letter going to Facebook today. We'll see what they do with it. I'll be watching and let them know we have expectations. We need them to do more on the vaccine, but they have started. They have to handle the abortion access information as well. So these are troubling times, but we've been through some tough times before. And New Yorkers know what to do. We stand tall, we fight hard, and we let people know that we have their backs. You, as I said, do not have the leadership you deserve. You take care of that the next election, can't help you there. But in the meantime, we have to stop extremists from taking women's rights away that have been protected nationwide since 1973. I'm going forward, I'm not going back, and I'm taking every one of you with me. Thank you, my friends.
Great speech, Governor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great speech.
And another amazing champion for reproductive health and women's rights all around, our great Senator Kirsten Gillibrand.